Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, viewers from all around the world and all freaking ages. Welcome to the first official bonus round of Epic Island Battle Tournament. Today we got two badass baldies. I'm talking the parody himself, Saitama from One Punch Man versus Krillin from DBZ, Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball Super as a whole. But before we get into it, I got a big shout out to give to Aiden for the animations you will witness after the analysis. So stay tuned after the analysis to see the animation. Shout out to Aiden. Let's get to it. And for today's bonus round, we will have two different scenarios. We will have Saitama fighting Krillin from current Dragon Ball Super, and we will have a separate scenario of Krillin fighting Saitama, Krillin from Namek fighting Saitama. And I have a special guest covering part of Krillin's analysis with me. I got Simple Star on the show, folks, so stay tuned for part of his analysis. Until then, let's get down to business. And today, I won't really be going into deep origin. This is just a bonus round. I'm going to mainly be going over their abilities and their stats that they have shown. And I will be including official guidebooks for this bonus round specifically. Saitama, like I said, we know the origins. He used to have hair. He one day saved a kid from a crustacean-like monster. He would train, break his limiter. He wanted to become a hero, and when he did, folks, he found out it was actually pretty boring. Pretty boring indeed for Saitama. And I would say it is pretty boring when you can basically almost one-shot anybody you come across, from building level to city level monsters, multi-city level monsters. Now, onto his abilities. As you know, he is known as the One Punch Man. He basically can one-shot any opponent with one punch. Usually, it only takes a casual punch to one-shot most building level to city level fighters. He might even throw in a chop here and there too. He has his barrage of consecutive normal punches, folks. He has his serious side steps, where he can actually create after images with his said technique. He has his serious headbutt, his serious table flip technique, where he can basically flip over the entire battlefield. Whoa. And he even has his own signature move, folks. The serious punch, which is a punch that's very serious. Heck, let's get into his strength, because you see, he has some impressive feats of strength, to say at the very least. He can casually lift over, flip over, you could say, the monster's base, which is easily city level strength, comparable to Z City in size. Heck, the shockwaves alone from this dude's punches was enough to obliterate an entire mountain. He even split the freaking atmosphere by deflecting one of Lord Boros' attacks. Wow. Just wow. Now, you don't have to agree with this next part, but I am a firm believer, and I truly do believe Saitama is star level, because he did deflect Boros' collapsing Star War cannon meteoric burst, which pushes him past any mortal limitations and is formidable enough to destroy a star. And I do believe this guidebook is official. I respectfully respect anyone's opinions if you disagree with the guidebook. I actually do agree that it is official. The guide also directly implies Boros is a planet buster in his second form, not even using the meteoric burst, which does make sense for him to be star level at his best. Yes. Meaning Saitama, with his serious punch, was able to deflect a star busting attack, which would actually put Saitama at large star level. Speaking of Boros in his planet busting form, he actually did knee Saitama to the moon at light speed, and Saitama was pretty much just fine from that. He was basically just fine. You know what he did? He got up, looked at a space rock for a second, jumped back to the Earth at relativistic to light speeds. Took him 18 to 20 seconds, which is not exactly light speed. It takes light roughly 1.3 seconds to reach the Earth from the moon, or vice versa. It took him 18 to 20 seconds, which is relative to light speed nonetheless. And yes, you can obviously imply Saitama was somewhat suppressed, and when he started fighting Boros again, he honestly could have amped it up to another level of speed, which would actually be light speed. Now, as impressive and incredible and fast as Saitama sounds, he actually does have his flaws like most other characters in fiction. He did actually take some damage from Boros in his planet-busting state. He does not always take stuff seriously. In fact, he doesn't really take anything seriously. He's not a strategist in battle. He's not the most intelligent of heroes. And just like other heroes in fiction who have their guard down, he can actually take damage when his guard is down, as shown when he got scratched by a normal house cat while his guard was down. But altogether, Saitama is incredible. He's very, very durable, fast enough to create after images, can leap to the earth in relativistic speeds. Obviously, he was suppressed, so you could imply he amped it up to light speed after he started the battle again with Boros. He can one-shot most building to city level fighters with just a casual punch. And with his serious punch, he's able to deflect an attack formidable enough to destroy a star, putting Saitama at least large star level. Well, that's enough on this baldy. Let's move on to the next baldy, his opponent Krillin, see what he has to bring to the table. Krillin, Goku's little best buddy from the original Dragon Ball. You see, Krillin started off being a monk. Then he went to train with Master Roshi alongside Kid Goku. Now, I won't be going into two separate analyses since there is two different scenarios. I'm just going to stick with the same analysis and go through the Namek saga, so on and so forth. That way we don't have to have two different analyses. You can just hear both scenarios analysis in one big analysis. Starting now. Yes, Krillin. Now, we will skim through Dragon Ball and basically the Raditz saga. We'll skip to when he trains with God of the Earth, Kami. He gains such a big power increase, he's able to take on and take out multiple Raditz level Cybermen. And if we know anything about Raditz level, Raditz was able to dominate two moon level fighters, meaning Piccolo and Goku themselves. And there's something you need to remember about Raditz. Raditz was able to react and dodge light speed moving attacks. This Krillin is logically above that same Raditz, as he was able to take out multiple Cybermen, meaning Krillin is at the very least light speed during combat during the Saiyan saga while fighting the Cybermen. Now we move on to Namek. You see, Krillin's crafty. He was able to outmaneuver Dodoria, one of Frieza's elite henchmen, with his strategy alone. He would get his potential unlocked on Namek and raise his level to 13,000. Now, these power levels are meant to help gauge these characters' power in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. They are very lenient in the Frieza saga. We do know this. Because you see, there is a guidebook, official guidebook, that does state and confirm you need the power level of 10,000 to destroy a normal planet. Which does make sense. When characters like King Vegeta, who are around that level, can blow up a planet. Vegeta himself, power level of 18,000 planet level. And the guide actually does state a power level of 10,000 is what is required to destroy a normal planet. Meaning, going off how Dragon Ball works, Krillin is actually planet level on Namek. After all his training, getting his potential unlocked, yes. Heck, he was even able to catch Frieza off guard in his second form and cut his tail off with the Destructo Disc. And speaking of this Destructo Disc, if it wasn't for Vegeta in the Saiyan saga, telling Nappa to dodge and move out of the way, then this Destructo Disc would have indeed killed Nappa, someone who is clearly above Krillin's league. Krillin would be in the Android saga, the Cell game saga. He obviously trained more throughout that arc and saga. Heck, he even managed to catch Imperfect Cell, Cell in his original first form, off guard and do a major headbutt to Imperfect Cell. Now, for most of the Buu arc, saga, whatever you want to say, he really didn't train that much. He settled down for a little bit, got married to Android 18, had him a kid, Marin. But as we know, towards the end of the Buu saga, they started training again for a tournament. Towards the end of the Buu saga, Krillin did start training again. And now we're into Dragon Ball Super. You see Dragon Ball Super, Krillin shows up in the Resurrection of F saga. He does have some flashbacks about Frieza killing him. He freezes up. That's only because he noticed and remembered Frieza. And as we know, he overcame this fear and demolished multiple Frieza soldiers who are all above Raditz level. Heck, he's even been training with Android 18 and a Super Saiyan Blue suppressed Goku in Dragon Ball Super. Spoiler alert. And now they're in the Universe Survival Tournament arc. You see, Krillin actually has learned some new techniques, or I should say, enhanced some old techniques, such as the Solar Flare times 100, which completely blinds the opponent and makes it to where they cannot sense your energy whatsoever as long as the effects are in effect. He has the triple Destructo Disc that he can now kind of control, similar to what Frieza can do with the Death Disc that he used on Namek. And he can launch 3 of these at once now. And after the Saiyan saga, Krillin was easily keeping up and reacting to above light speed attacks and movements and fighters. He himself is above light speed in terms of combat and reaction speed, and he's not slow when it comes to flying either, not slow at all. So Simple Star, do you want to finish covering more on Krillin, and then we'll get down to business?
Despite Krillin being a normal human, he's anything but. He's extremely strong. He's able to move gigantic boulders several times his own size. He's able to move at massively faster than light speeds, and he's able to compete with opponents that even gave 18 a hard time. The same 18 that casually broke Vegeta's Super Saiyan arm. Well, mostly like he was a Super Saiyan and his arm broke, and you know what.
But Krillin isn't just full of boldiness, he's actually full of skills, like the Ragenki, which is a combo attack, which uses physical force. The Kamehameha, which is a turtle-style energy wave. It's just a blue beam of energy that blows shit up. The Destructo Disc, a powerful disc that can slice through almost anything. Perfect Cell. And the Scatter Energy Wave, which blasts a bunch of energy beams that can be manipulated and just explode on contact. The Solar Flare dazes opponents and does a lot and just blinds opponents. I could say it does a lot of damage, but it doesn't actually do damage, it just like affects your eyes. He can also beef it up by 100 times to make it even more powerful. And the Chain Destructo Disc Barrage, where he launches a bunch of Destructo Discs at the same time, which are even deadlier. And then he launches an even bigger and more powerful one to finish. But Krillin isn't perfect. He normally gets the crap beaten out of him. He can overthink things most of the time, and he has died a lot of times, which is like 2 or 3 times if you actually talk about GT or like the Buu saga, but you know what I mean. He just dies a lot. But hey, it could be worse. He could be bold.
Well, thanks for covering part of Krillin's analysis, Simple Star. I appreciate you coming on the show. And also, it is to be noted, through scaling and feats, Krillin should be, at the very least, in the star ranges in terms of attack potency. very least relative to star level. He's in the ranges at the very least through feats and proper scaling. He should be in those ranges. All this being said, all this at Krillin's disposal, does he have what it takes to take on Saitama? Well, folks, we're going to find out if Namek Krillin can take on Saitama or not, and then we're going to see if DB Super Krillin can take on Saitama or not. What do you say to that? Well, folks, let's get to it.
All right, here I come. This might be it.
Wow, now that was epic. And yeah, Saitama beat Namek Krillin. DB Super Krillin beat Saitama. I got some explaining to do, but before I explain why, I got another big shout out and thanks to give to Aiden Kerr for both of those incredible animations. So shout out to Aiden Kerr. Please go check out his channel and subscribe. Now, reasons why. So yeah, Saitama definitely does beat Namek Krillin for more than one reason. Now I will say either way, Krillin has better speed feats than Saitama. By the Namek Saga, Krillin was keeping up and dodging above light speed attacks. But that's about it, besides strategy. But at that point, he just doesn't have the attack potency or the proper power or defense to hang that long with somebody like Saitama, who did deflect a star-busting attack with his serious trump card, his serious punch. And he actually does outclass the Namek Krillin physically and in durability tremendously, actually. Krillin on Namek is normal planet level, and he's not as durable as he is on down the line. Saitama, on the other hand, is large star level and can take hits from a star level being. And yeah, he took a little damage from Boros in his planet busting state, so that does imply Krillin could possibly maybe damage him if he got a hit or two in, but it's going to delay the inevitable. Saitama beats Namek Krillin. Simple as that. He outclasses him in physicality, durability, all that good stuff. But here's where it comes into Dragon Ball Super Krillin. You see, Krillin in Dragon Ball Super is closer to Saitama's level. Very, very close. Saitama still edges out in strength and durability, but not as much as he did while Krillin was on Namek. You see, after Namek, he kept training. He got stronger, which would actually scale him to multi-planetary. Yes. Yeah, he did get a little rusty in the Buu Saga, but he didn't get that much weaker. No, it's not like he got weaker. He just got a tad bit rusty. And as I mentioned, he trained at the end of the Buu Saga with Android 18, and he started training again in Dragon Ball Super. And as Simple Star mentioned, he actually went up against a fighter that was making Android 18 nervous and actually gave her some problems, implying this said fighter was very, very relative to her in terms of power and speed. Very relative. And thanks to Krillin training, amping up some, boosting his stats, along with his strategy, he was able to take this guy out who was making Android 18 sweat. And if we know anything about Android 18, she's above Goku and Frieza from Namek. And Goku and Frieza from Namek at 100% power are star level. Yeah. And she is above them. Krillin is very, very relative to Android 18 right now. He's been training with her. He's keeping up with people who can keep up with her and give her problems. Yeah, he's on a different level than he has ever been in Dragon Ball Z. So while Saitama does actually slightly edge out in strength and slightly durability, that's not really a big factor here. Krillin takes literally everything else. Strategy, intelligence, speed. He has a pretty big speed advantage over Saitama. Saitama's best speed feat, if you want to consider this a speed feat, is him jumping from the moon to the earth in around 20 seconds, which is not even light speed. If you want to imply he was suppressed, which obviously he was, then you could amp him up to light speed, yeah. Krillin would still have a speed advantage. He has the range advantage, versatility, as he can fly. He's been trained in martial arts his entire life. Yes, he has the range advantage. He has his triple Destructo Disc, his solar flare times 100. He could easily blitz in front of Saitama, use the solar flare times 100. Saitama will be completely blind. Krillin could easily jump back, triple Destructo Disc. And if you factor in their character, Saitama does not take things seriously, right? Krillin does, actually. That could be Saitama's downfall, especially if he tried to punch away 3 Destructo Disc. I could see him maybe punching one, but the other 2 are going to go right through him. That's how his character is. He doesn't actually care. And if he does get serious and try to punch all 3 of them, that's not going to work out too good in the end for Saitama. So yes, while Saitama has an edge in strength and durability, it's not by much at this point, and Krillin actually takes every other advantage. Intelligence, strategy, the range advantage, versatility, speed, and he's close enough in power to where it is not going to matter at the end of the day. On top of all of his techniques, I say Krillin from Dragon Ball Super beats Saitama. All that being said, the winners of this bonus Epic Island Battle Tournament round, Saitama, he beat Namek Krillin. Krillin from Dragon Ball Super beat Saitama. Hope you enjoyed it for what it actually was. And remember, within the next week or so, Pain vs. Xemnas will be here, so stay tuned for that. As always, have a great one. Peace.